All right, so I was gonna leave, the video as it was, but I kind of felt like my last video had, a lot of information in there, and not a lot, but the main point was that surface and depth, and we're not gonna get into that, but we'll talk about some other stuff. Maybe I just review a little bit, maybe. So, as of today, I would say I'm in a different place, different position, different type of life at this moment, and at this point. And by the way, I will tell you, some people say, "Oh, you gotta travel a lot. Oh, you're gonna learn a lot when you travel. You'll always be benefiting from travel and this and that. It makes you smarter, cooler, more hip. You can make more money and all that stuff." I don't believe in that. There are people who travel the world everywhere, and they go everywhere, but they're still like the same type of person and all that. You know what I mean? So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that I don't believe in that. Well, I gotta take a lot of flights, as a lot of places and all that stuff. Well, do what you gotta do. I won't say that I agree with that. There might have been a time when I said something like that. I don't know, but if I did, I'm not saying it now, right? What else can I talk about? You know what? It sucks to lose somebody. You know what I mean? It sucks to lose somebody. Sometimes we lose people, and we don't really care. You know what I mean? You lose somebody and you don't really even care that you lost them, and you don't even give a shit. You know what I mean? And then, like, all of a sudden, let's say somebody did a bid, you didn't give a shit because you're like, this guy's doing a bid. We don't give a shit. And nobody helps the guy out like me, and he comes out. And instead of going back to that same thing that he was doing before, he's in a higher and a better place. You know what I mean? He's on a bigger and better things, basically. That's what you get from somebody who brings a lot of energy or a lot of something that's unique. You bring something unique, you bring a lot of energy, and you are missed sorely when you move on. Now, it's not meant to be missed in a negative fashion, that we want them back, this kind of thing. I mean, that's normal. That means that you were successful. If you're on better things and your past is saying that we wish we still had you, I'm not talking about people. Like, let's say you were in an industry. Let's say you were promoting for sporting events or even parties and stuff. People will always miss you. You know what I mean? Now, would I ever go? I'm never partying again, by the way, for the rest of my life. No, I'm joking. Yeah, parties are cool, right? And it's cool. I still think parties are cool. You know what I mean? Though I'm not into like heavy music and alcohol and drug use, but I do enjoy parties either way. But yeah, you are sorely missed, and that's a good thing. You know what I mean? That means you were good. If you're not missed and you moved on to something, people will say, "Well, we don't want him anyway or whatnot," which is fine. But really, if you move on to something better, that's always a good thing. It's like me being principal of a high school and now I'm dean of a university, like 5 years later or 8 years later or something. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. I can talk a little bit. So yeah, I told you when I went into dead time, I actually did rob a bank, and I told you it was like I went into dead time. You know what I mean? Like, what do I mean by that? Like, you know what I mean? It just put me in a different place. I had been around like scamming kind of people in my life before, though I never joined them and I never got into petty stuff. I don't have a long criminal history or anything like that. You know what I mean? I don't have criminal charges for shoplifting or just a lot of stuff that you hear. I don't have criminal charges for those things. My criminal charge, first one as an adult, was robbing a bank. Was literally a robbery of a bank. You know what I mean? And I posted a picture, a photo of the court document for my bank robbery. And then I thought I'd make that clear. But you know, that was the time when I went into this what I call dead time, and really, you know, there was nothing that could help me. You know what I mean? I really wanted to get help, and I wanted people to help me out and stuff, and there was nothing happening. You know, and I told you it was like, you know, when you're in dead time, man, it's some real shit, man. You really find out what things are about. And it's not easy to do. Believe me, when you do your time, man, you're doing it by yourself, man. There's nobody doing time for you, man. Nobody does time for you, man. When you do time, nobody else does time for you, man. You do your time yourself, man, and that's very real. Um, is there anything else I want to address? Well, I mean, I don't need to recap. I mean, I did that video, the last video I did, letting you know about the surface and going below and everything. But you know, I do want to make it clear. I'm in a different place today. There's a lot of things that I don't feel and think the same way about that I did in the past. You know what I mean? But you gotta understand, man. Like, you know, in dead time, when people are not able to like really follow with you or understand or anything like that, you know, it kind of like 7.5 years is a long time. You know, if you were to come out of that, if I come out of that, it's been 7.5 years. It's like, you know, everything is just so different. You know, you come back out and everyone's like, what have you been doing for 7.5 years? Everything, man. You know what I mean? Oh, 7.5 years half years is a long time. Like, what have you been doing, man? You know what I mean? And it's really cool. So, well, no, it's like, it's not cool. Doing time is not cool at all. It's very difficult, and it's very shitty. But coming out of it is a good thing. You know, it feels good. What else do I want to? What else can I talk about? Okay, so you know what, man? I used to, when I was younger. You know, I'll be very honest with you. I really thought that like. So I told you that I was a huge history buff, and history buff might be an understatement. I was absolutely crazy about history. You know, and what got me crazy was third grade. We were doing a unit on ancient Egypt, and I've told you that that's how I got into, you know, wanting to know history. And then slowly, you know, I got into other stuff, and you know, I started playing all these strategy games on the computer, like, you know, all these old strategy games. And then I was reading books on my own. I was taking electives for world history, and I was learning a lot of stuff on my own. I wanted to take world religions, but I dropped it, and I ended up taking world history instead. And I actually enjoyed world history a lot. But I was this big history buff. I used to believe that everything can be done militarily. Like, oh, just send the military in and take care of it. You know what I mean? Send the military in. Let's take over everybody. Let me get the best military there is. You know what I mean? Or take a military, make it the best it is, and just take over everybody else. Just kick everybody else's ass. You know, let's all fight and see who the strongest is, and whoever gets their, you know, whoever kicks everybody's ass wins. Wasn't that what Hitler did, though? Isn't that what Hitler did? Wasn't that, is that exactly what he was trying to do? And I used to really think like that. Today, I don't think like that. You know, I don't really think like that. I feel like life just has a lot, you know, and I'm not trying to become the biggest name in the world. I'm not trying to, you know, earn all this stuff. And you would say that I'm meek for that, you know, and that does sound meek. That definitely sounds very meek. You know, I mean, before, the way I used to talk, it was like I was so, you know, confident, you know. I gotta tell you, you know, when it comes to military history, it's a certain kind of mind that clings on. You know, it's this mind that, you know, I'll tell you what it was. It's a mind and a fantasy, you know, because the mind is very like geeky. It's like a geek. Like, you have the mind of a geek, and you have the fantasy of like just an insanely ambitious man. You know, you got the fantasy part is like an insanely ambitious man, and the mind is of a geek. You know what I mean? And you know, when I got older, I'll be honest, like, you know, you get older and you're like, well, things aren't working, so what should I do, right? And you're like, okay, I got a geek's mind. Let me have a cool person's mind. And as far as the fantasy goes, let's make things more realistic, step by step. Let me just start with something that's physical, you know, and people will think I'm cool for it. Maybe I'll do something like boxing, you know. People will think I'm cool for it. Everything in one. People will think I'm cool for it. I'll get actual results. I'll get into step one and learn the physical movements and physicalities and all that stuff. You know what I mean? and obviously, but there's just so much more that goes in after that. You know, when you're well, what are you, 18 years old, 19 years old, and you know you might go a little bit to see what MMA is like when you're 17. And let me try boxing 18, 19. You know what I mean? And that's fine. And I guess I explained that, but you know, as of today, I'm in a different place. You know what I mean? I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm at a bit of a higher level of thinking and really of a place too. I'm like at a higher level of thinking and place, and I don't think that old way anymore because it doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean the same thing that it used to mean to me. I don't have that kind of, you know, feeling that, you know, I want to be the Alexander the Great. And that's exactly what I used to think. You know, Mike Tyson has an outro, you know, he wins a fight, you know, and then they're asking him questions and he starts going on a tantrum. He says, I'm like Alexander the Great, you know, I'm from their cloth. You know what I mean? I'm like them, you know, and he goes on that tirade. You know what I mean? And really I don't have that desire because, you know, what would I gain? You know, if the whole world said that I was the number one guy in the world at something, what would I gain from it? I got nothing to gain from it, you know? What do I gotta gain from it? I mean, you know, I don't dream of being a king anymore. When I was a kid, that was really cool. You know, when I was a kid, you wanted to be a king. And then as I got older, it was like, well, why not be a king and a military leader? You know, today's world is very modern, man. Today's world changed a lot. And I'll tell you, it was really the 7.5 years that totally changed me. You know, in that time, I just thought about it and I was like, man, you know what, man? And coming forward now, I don't have the same desires and all that. And I don't have that much time left. I can't really explain every little thing and tell you why and what changed and this and that. But what I can tell you is that I don't think that way anymore. I got different things in my mind. I want to do different things in my life. And there's just so much to learn and discover. You know, life has so much, you know, this journey never ends. You know what I mean? This journey has so much stuff in it that, you know, I'm just, you know, that doesn't appeal to me, doesn't attract me. And at this moment, I'm not gonna say what does because I don't really know because I'm still in the journey. You know what I mean? I'm not I don't know everything. I'm not a professor. I'm not a soothsayer. You know, I'm not. You know what I mean? And I realize that, and maybe that's me becoming humbled. You know, and maybe this time has humbled me. You know, and it's humbled me, and it's made me think that, you know, maybe I should think more like a student versus, you know, well, I'm the teacher automatically. No, maybe I should think more like a student. Maybe I should go through things and really, you know, learn. Dude, you can never learn enough in this life. If you wanted to become the best chef in the world, it could take you 10 years, man. You know what I mean? It takes a long time, you know. And then you want to become the, you know, and there's a million billion things in this world. This world is so big and there's so much in there that, you know, just to, you know, oh, I have the biggest name in the world, I've done this and I've done that, you know, it's not really, it's not feeding my ego. That's not my ego as of today. That's not my personality, and that's not the type of person that I am. Am I knocking anybody though? I'm not knocking anybody, but, you know, I'm in a different place. I moved on from that, and I kind of wanted to make that clear. But like I said, you know, maybe it was just a big thing that I felt that I had to make it clear because I was reluctant to make another video. I was like, I made a video that explained everything about this whole surface and in-depth thing. But I was like, okay, you know what I mean? It wouldn't hurt to put a bit of a video up and kind of do some further explanations and then a little bit more background information and everything. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. And you should be watching this right now.